Clements Homebrew coming at you with a beer review. Got the winter birds coming in right now, and we've got a good beer here too. This is a beer I got to try at my son Colin's house. Colin and Chris and I were all together, along with the grandson. We were babysitting him and drinking beer, right? And this one comes from Abomination Brewing. Here's your can art, and it is ice cream sandwiches in space. Yep, Abomination Brewing Company. They are out of North Haven, Connecticut, and I'm going to be going to Milford, Connecticut very soon. So hopefully I'll get to check out some of their beers. This is an Imperial Milkshake IPA. Not really what I get into most of the time, but Great Notion does have some of those, and I've enjoyed a few of them. It's really interesting what it's made with, and this is where the space part comes in. They've made it with freeze-dried ice cream, cacao nibs, vanilla, strawberry, and lactose. Freeze-dried ice cream and lactose? I got a little taste of it, like I said. I'm gonna get a whole can without other beers first, and I'll let you know what I think. All right, here we go with the pour. This is, by the way, 9.1% ABV, so it's not a small beer. And they do a lot of these milkshake IPAs, and they do a lot of like double dry hopped and triple dry hopped beers as well. These are kind of their specialties. Ooh, it's chilly out here. All right, the nose isn't coming on real strong at first, so we'll see as it warms up. But I tell you, man, what was interesting was I got the vanilla and the strawberry right away. Now the lactose and that freeze-dried ice cream is coming on strong. I'm also getting some citrus qualities coming off it as well. Man, it's a really nice sweetness. Definitely vanilla, strawberry, whether it's the lactose. Well, I would say it's the freeze-dried ice cream, because there's a lot more than just lactose on there. And like I said, some citrus quality. I have no idea what kind of hops are in it. I'm gonna have to try to warm this on the way, but we're gonna try it nice and cold. Here we go. Cheers. Okay. You know, it's not uber sweet. It's not super sweet, right? But the first thing that hits you is sweetness. And you get that freeze-dried ice cream like immediately. It just comes on. And yet it's kind of a light quality. And it's kind of watered off. Not as much as many beers. There's still some of those flavors. A tiny bit of bitterness is building, just a hint of it. You would have no clue this was 9.1%. This would be, you know, dare I say, one of those cheap date things, you know? I mean, you could feed these to people and they'd have no idea what they were drinking in terms of the alcohol level. That's really kind of fun. I knew that I enjoyed it at Colin's. I couldn't really say all the reasons why. It just keeps putting a smile on my face. That's so funny. I'm not much of a poker player. You can tell that. You know, I've had these at Great Notion. Great Notion has this tendency to go over the top. Like, I mean, uber sweet and uber flavorful. And I mean, like, you know, just heavy duty. This has plenty of sweetness, but it's not like over the top, overdone. They've put a lot of creative things in it for sure. I picked up the cocoa nibs in the nose earlier. Boy, you can barely quantify that it's there. It's there, but barely so. The other sweetness that, like, again, the lactose, the freeze-dried ice cream, those are much more dominant. You're getting a bit more of the strawberry than you do the cocoa nibs. But it's kind of fun, honestly. It's very different. I had to take a little break. It's very active out here. I've got the hummingbird, all these other little birds that want me to throw out broken down walnuts, and the mallards I had to feed. We got a few other fun birds like you saw in the intro. You gotta take a look at what's going on down at the bottom. Hopefully you can see some of these floaties down there. A lot of little floaties. So there's I've got to assume that's some of the trub or something, that's some of the yeast stuff down there, unless that's freeze-dried ice cream at the bottom. And then look at some of the interesting lacing that it leaves too. Very, very interesting beer, but I'm rather enjoying it. I've got to say, it's kind of funny. I'm actually going to rate it pretty well. I mean, this is just a very, very tasty beer. In terms of Imperial IPAs, I mean, Milkshake IPAs aren't something I normally rate well, but I'm just digging on it. It has a lot of other flavors coming in from the hops I can't quite pick up, but they're kind of tropical in nature. I'm getting just the slightest as it's built up, just a tiny, tiny a bitter bite, which for me is welcome, and I think it's needed to balance the beer out, but it's mostly sweet goodness, and I do have a sweet tooth. So fun beer. In terms of style for Imperial IPA, I'm gonna rank it pretty decent. I'm gonna give this a, ooh, that's tough actually. I'm back and forth between a 92 and a 93, but at the moment I'm going 93 because it's unique. It's a very unique beer, and I love unique. Overall, I won't rank it quite as high overall. I mean, there's so many other beers I'd rather have than this. It's a fun, unique beer, and I can have it once or twice on an occasion kind of a thing, but it's not going to be like a go-to per se for me. But overall, it's still a wonderful beer. I'm going to give this a 90. Woohoo! And I get to top up, get whatever all goodness is on the bottom there. Oh yeah, then enjoy it all. Yeah, I would say check it out. I mean, Abomination Brewing does some interesting stuff out there. Yeah, good stuff. I'd say check it out. This is the ice cream sandwich in space. Abomination Brewing out of North Haven, Connecticut. Give it a try, or try some of their other beers. This is some great stuff. This is Kevin Clemens Homebrew saying life's too short to drink cheap beer, and I'll see you in the next beer review.